Yes, hello. Today I have decided to be filming a top 25 Madonna songs video where I'll be counting down my favorite songs of hers throughout her entire career so far. As you know, she's been in the industry for over 30 years now. I've only reviewed one album of hers so far, which would be Ray of Light, and I will link that review in the description. And I do plan on reviewing a ton more Madonna albums in the future. Confessions on a Dance Floor is the next one I want to review, so that should be coming this month. But I decided instead of doing that review right now, I'm going to just make this video. There's so much music in Madonna's catalog, and she's morphed and changed through so many different styles throughout her career. And it's almost like different people putting out different albums, which I find very fascinating. She never repeats herself. I do think that her career has had this very interesting trajectory, although as many agree, I do think that her newer stuff is definitely not like what her older stuff was. I'm not saying that I only like her 80s music. I'm just like a lot of people. I just don't necessarily think that her more recent albums are nearly as strong, which is a real shame because Rebel Heart, her most recent album, is not really holding up very well in my opinion. In fact, over the last few years, my opinion of that album has dropped significantly. So when I do get around to reviewing it, I'm not going to give it as good of a review as I would have given it back in 2015 when it did come out. I guess I was just really excited about a Madonna release that it kind of clouded my judgment a little bit. But so anyway, without further ado, let me get into this. Before I do, because it's so hard to narrow it down to 25, most artists, 25, you're like, oh, that's plenty of songs. It's like not with Madonna. She has so many, hundreds and hundreds of songs. So there are a few honorable mention songs that didn't make the list that I will just list here. They're just right behind. Okay, so at 25, we have this cute little song from her album Erotica. It's called Byebye Baby. And it's just fun. I don't know what it is about it. Maybe it's just because it's addictively catchy that I was sort of drawn to it and I decided to put it on this list. It wasn't a single. And the Erotica album in general actually has a lot of music that is, I actually think, much more accessible than the album concept sort of made it out to seem to be. It's a lot of real house dance music that she has this very soft demeanor and this presentation to songs on this album that are a lot more kind of crisp, and there's definitely a cheekiness to all of these songs. And so you can definitely tell that. I think her personality comes through nicely in the way she presents this song. At number 24, we have a song off of her 2008 album Hard Candy called Devil Wouldn't Recognize You. This is a longer song, and I think it's one of the more experimental songs that Madonna has done in more of her recent work. It employs a very interesting choral, vocalized background, and it has a forlorn and sort of dejected feel to it. It's a very kind of down song, but it's also very full of energy at the same time. It's interesting, and it's at the same time very mellow. Something that I think made the sound stand out from this record, also with the, subject matter of being so done with someone that they're just so bad that the devil wouldn't even recognize them. But yet I do. I have to recognize you. I have to have you in my life. But why me? This feeling of like, why do I have to take this on? At number 23, we have Live to Tell. This is a song off of her album True Blue. This song is actually composed by Patrick Leonard, and it was made for a film called Fire with Fire that came out in 1986. It's this, very 80s forlorn love story about two runaways who want to be in love but outlaws, and there's all these things. The song is very grand, and her vocal delivery is very subdued. She's not belting, but at the same time, you can hear so much emotion in her doing this song. This is one of her first ballads that she's really ever made in her career. Her first two albums didn't really have much in the way of ballads, and so this is the first time that Madonna is like really opening up, and something that she'll do a lot more in Like a Prayer, to make very soulful, melancholic songs. At number 22, we have a single off of her album American Life from 2003. This song is called Love Profusion. It has a really colorful, over the top, but still very fun music video. This song is her using vocal alliterations, basically talking about love confusion. The lyrics are very poignant. This album's her album of sort of getting out a lot of political angst that she had about society and America in general. Remember, this is 2003, so this is right after the Iraq War started. She was getting very charged politically. There is no comprehension. There is real isolation. There is so much destruction. What I want is a celebration. It's altruistic. It's revelatory, and it has this undeniable groove and bass line to it. So I didn't think a song from Madonna's 12th album, MDNA, which came out in 2012, was going to actually make it into my top 25, because it's not a secret. MDNA is my least favorite album of hers. However, I keep forgetting that there is a song that closes out the standard edition called Masterpiece, which is this beautiful ballad that she composed with William Orbit of the Ray of Light era, and he produced this song. So it has a little bit more of, well, it's a guitar-driven melody, but you can hear the spaciness to it that you hear is in his production. This song won Best Original Song at the Golden Globes in 2012 because it was a song that she made along with a film that she directed. It was her directorial debut of this movie called W.E. It's a British historical romantic drama about Wally Simpson, née Winthrop, and how she came to fall in love with King Edward, and then the whole abdication, all of that drama. I've never actually seen this movie still. It's a 2011 film. I may see it at some point. It didn't necessarily get very good reviews, unfortunately. And it didn't get any Academy Award acclaim, but the fact that at least the song got something for the Golden Globes was quite significant, and it's a little lofty considering the album that it's attached to, MDNA, is... Yeah, there's not a lot of awards that were being put in that album's direction, unfortunately. It's definitely my least favorite and I think weakest album that she's ever put out. Bedtime Story is the most enigmatic and trippy, spaced out song that she has ever created. This song was inspired a lot by Björk from Iceland. Now, if you know, this song came out in 1994. Björk had just become a big international superstar right around that same time, and Madonna was very interested in her. And so you can tell in the lyrics, and inside we're all still wet. You can hear Björk's songwriting because Björk was actually a contributor to the songwriting of this song. And some people, go all off and say it's actually a Björk song and it's not a Madonna song and she's just covering it, but they actually were writing this together, though they were never in the same room. But Madonna was very inspired by Björk in the Human Nature music video, in the style of hair that she used, and also for the spaciness of the lyrics. The lyrics are very abstract and enigmatic, and the video is definitely very much so. It draws some inspiration from Salvador Dali and a lot of surrealist art. Mark Romanek, who directed the video, did a phenomenal job. There is a lot of symbolism loaded into the imagery of this video, so much so that it's a little overwhelming. You just sort of have to take it all in and try not to, get too lost in it. What It Feels Like for a Girl is number 19. This actually has a remix version that has a music video, which is so much worse than the actual album version. That's why I'm highlighting the album version, where it's a lot more soft and spaced out. It doesn't have that pounding EDM tinge to it. And of course, the lyrics are so impactful, speaking about, how a boy does not understand what it is like to be a girl, all the wonderful things and all the not so wonderful things that come with girlhood and growing up and womanhood. It's a very feminist song. It's a very powerful song. And it's also very carefree at the same time. It's soft and it comes and hugs you, which is nicer when I see Madonna kind of go into that direction, not so over the top or like too energetic. At 18, we have the big pop dance hit Hung Up, which of course features the iconic ABBA riff that is from Give Me a Man After Midnight. And she did get permission for that sample. The music video, it shows her, I mean, yes, obviously she's in her 40s in this music video, and she is still showing how energetic and how fit she is and how good of a dancer that she is. She's embracing the hip hop scene, but the music is pure disco. It's pure, obviously, it's inspired by ABBA. And it plays off of that riff. And it's that perfect intro to the Confessions album, which is one of the best albums that she has created, and it's definitely the best dance album if you're looking for dance music that incorporates house and a little bit of electropop. It's definitely impactful for 2005 when it was released. Deeper and Deeper is another hit that was from the 1992 album Erotica that's a little bit like Hung Up, except it's its predecessor by 10 years, and it's very disco, it's very electropop, and it has a soul to it. It has real energy, and I definitely find it addicting. I think the music video is so great, it's so fabulous, it celebrates gay rave culture in Europe, and it definitely has tongue-in-cheek to it. And of course, it samples Vogue, which she just made as a hit 2 years earlier. Swim is a very enigmatic track that she's never actually performed live ever since this album was released. Of course, Ray of Light, this is the 1998 track. This song was definitely inspired by when she found out one of her good friends, Gianni Versace, passed away, and that has definitely probably some effect on her, is why she does not perform it live anymore or talk about this song. It's very sweeping, it's very esoteric in its nature, and is of course talking also about the universe and also society and why we do such horrible things to each other, but how we're also pulling forward to go somewhere better. There's this beautiful guitar riff then spaced out with William Orbit's amazing production that is just bar none. If you see my Ray of Light review, I talk more about all these songs, so I will definitely recommend you watch that. 15, La Isla Bonita, huge hit from 1986 off of True Blue. This is kind of the flagship song for that album, and it is definitely one of her best 80s hits. It's got that Latin and salsa background, and it's just so undeniably beautiful and groovy and fun. Impressive Instant, it's really strange. It's just very sporadic and spastic, but it's a really fun song off of her album Music from 2000. I had to include it on this list just because of the impact it had on me when I first heard it. I was like, this is like nothing else I've ever heard before. And then you have to remember that this was released in the late 90s, early 2000s, which is when, you know, electro pop music was not really going in this direction, and she's so ahead of her time for creating stuff like this. I mean, it's just, it's a little bit like dated now. Like, I don't know, it's not that it's dated sound wise, but I just don't find it as appealing with repeated listens, but its initial impact on me was huge. That's why it's high up on this list for me. Isaac is actually inspired by a Jewish singer that she knows who has that name, who provided the vocals that sound very Middle Eastern. And it's a very techno house dance inspired song from her album Confessions. She's gotten into some trouble with the Jewish community for this song because she's referencing this Jewish mystic, Yitzhak Luria. And according to Jewish law, you're not allowed to use his name for profiting about this in the lyrics on a pop song. It's kind of blasphemous. This came about when she was in the Kabbalah, you know, she was getting into that. This song is inspired by that. And so it's a shame that she, you know, wanted to make a song that was actually referencing the Kabbalah, but it had such backlash from people in the Kabbalah community. They wanted her banished from it. It kind of all dwindled down. But she says that the song is just called Isaac because, not having anything to do with Isaac Luria or Yitzhak Luria, anglicized to Isaac, it has just to do with the fact that the man is named Isaac who provided the vocal, like the Hebrew. She just thinks it's just a coincidence that the guy and the song is titled the name Isaac. It has nothing to do with the Isaac from the 16th century. Either way, it's an undeniable fun song. Oh Father is again in the style of the big bombastic ballads from Like a Prayer, the very soulful and introspective album that she created in 1989. Mainly for the melody, I just fall in love with this song and I keep coming back to. Number 11 is Miles Away, arguably the best song off of her Hard Candy album, which is a very overlooked song and also album in general. A lot of people like to think Hard Candy is terrible, just like MDNA was, and I can sort of see where they're going there. This is from 2008. But I think that Hard Candy is definitely a lot of a stronger record than MDNA was, and now I'm starting to think it might even be stronger than Rebel Heart. Can't believe I'm saying that. But Hard Candy, time is being more generous to Hard Candy, whereas it's not being so generous to Rebel Heart, and it never was generous to MDNA. But Miles Away is bittersweet. It's beautiful, layered guitar, instrumental backtracking over. It's very full surround. It actually reminds me a little bit of some of the stuff that she was doing on Ray of Light, even though it's very distantly there. And of course, it's speaking about a relationship that is long distance, and that is very difficult. And you can hear the pain in her voice when she's singing that. It's one of the more emotional songs on the record. Okay, so now we get to the top 10. These are really my favorite Madonna songs. Rain off of Erotica is beautiful, it's sweeping, it's synesthetic. You can hear sounds all around you when you listen to this song. It's very well produced, especially for 1992. I find this song and the visual accompanying it immaculate and so emotional. The lyrics are gorgeous. Jump is one of the more energetic and lively big singles from Confessions on a Dance Floor, and it's just an anthem. It's talking about being confident in yourself and taking the next step in your life, and it's also an undeniably amazing dance song. You just want to have fun on the dance floor too. It just has all of this movement and energy to it that is just so infectious. Cherish, a huge single, though it's not as huge as I would have loved it to have been, but it's a big hit from her 1989 album. It's so addictive, it's so catchy, so melodic, and great lyrics too. I mean, it has all the hooks and things that makes a great 80s, early 90s song. No, it definitely is a little bit more Mariah Carey, and I definitely don't have a problem with that. It's relaxing, it's a pleasant listen. Ray of Light had to be in my top 10. I mean, this song is EDM glory. William Orbit did an amazing job with this. It's one of the most experimental tracks Madonna has ever created. The music video, everything about it. I rave about it in my Ray of Light review. So it's a spiritual experience, you know, dancing to this song. Express Yourself is an iconic song from the 80s, not just in Madonna's career, but in pop music in general. It was trend setting. It was this statement. And of course, it has this important message of be who you are. Don't settle to be someone else. Be confident in who you are. Be confident in your sexuality. Obviously, the imagery has inspired a lot of other artists like Christina Aguilera and Lady Gaga in their visuals and in their sound. And I do not think it's reductive, as Madonna once said, but I do think that, you know, you have to give props to what an amazing song this was. Frozen took the world by storm when it came out as the lead single from Ray of Light in early 1998. It's haunting, mystical. This song impacted me so strongly, and it was one of the first older Madonna songs I had heard before I got really into her catalog, and it just was like, whoa, I didn't know she made stuff like this. I mean, it's just so haunting, and the visuals, it's such a statement of emotion and pain, but rising above it. And it speaks to Madonna be really channeling something, I think, more than just some sort of materialistic Marilyn Monroe figure who just is like a pop starlet. She's really showing herself as multifaceted as, you know, a musical goddess figure with witchy vibes as well, which I love. Like a Prayer, it's always in everyone's top 5, if not number 1. Like a Prayer is another iconic song. I loved the performance she did of it at the Super Bowl with the choir. She always brings out the gospel choir. The imagery is iconic. Everything about it is just, it has to be, in anyone's top 10 list. You can't deny the undeniable, brilliant songwriting and message of this song. Holiday, arguably her best pop song from the 80s. This song, although the music video is so painful and like awkward to watch, but you have to remember it's her first music video she's ever made. And she's just dancing because that's what she wanted to do when she was getting into the scene. So she's so proud of herself. She's doing this dance routine and it's so dated in sound, but it's so perfect. And I wouldn't have it any other way. There's just an infectious groove. And yes, you do hear this in a lot of supermarkets and stuff, but it deserves to be there. I mean, it's celebratory and it's always going to be a little timeless, even though it's so dated. It's like one of those things from the 80s that is so 80s, but you're never going to throw it out because it represents what that time was. And yet at the same time, it doesn't. It's actually much more than that. I don't know. It's just a positive, fun pop song done right. At number 2, The Haunting Power of Goodbye. I like this song even more than Frozen because of William Orbit's more punctuated production. It's just a little bit more ephemeral and visceral, the feeling that you get from this song. It just sweeps you up like a wave. It's truly heart-wrenching lyrics. Who's saying goodbye, how difficult that is. And when you think about it, it's the emotion behind it is probably one of the most emotional things you could possibly sing about. And of course, number 1, this isn't that much of a surprise, Vogue, the song of her career. It actually is not attached to any album. It's just its own single, though it was a part of the Dick Tracy soundtrack compilation that she released, as well as the Immaculate Collection. And this is just everything about it is art. It's perfect. There's nothing wrong with it. I love how trend-setting it was. Some people say that she co-opted the Vogue movement, which was already being in underground LGBT circles for quite a while, and capitalized on it, but I think she's just strictly paying homage to it. She's always been a gay icon, so this song just solidified that for her, and every time she performs it on her tours, it's just, you hear that opening note and your chills go up your spine because it's fierce and it's perfect. It's just everything you would want from Madonna. It deserves to be the number 1 song. So I hope you enjoyed watching this. I know some people might be like, why is this other song not higher on the list, or why is that so high? I didn't want to just do singles because I see a lot of Madonna top videos and it's always just big singles, and I wanted to pick some songs that were deeper cuts because I don't like all of her singles. And, it is hard to rank them, but it was definitely very clear to me what the top 10 were. And I definitely love Madonna's music. I mean, I've not even heard probably every single Madonna song, and I might not never will because she's just been doing so much. I hope that whatever her new music comes, it's going to be a little bit more reflective of her age and a little bit more going in the Ray of Light direction. It may not be Ray of Light. I don't think we're ever getting that again, but something that is a little bit more self-aware, because this chasing trends and sort of trying to cater to teenage demographics with her turning 60, it's just not going to work any longer. I don't see, it's becoming a little bit of a joke, and it's really sad. So I really, as a Madonna fan, really hope that she kind of changes her image slowly. And I can sort of see that already happening now that she's moved to Portugal and she's adopted 2 more kids from Malawi. Her family's gotten quite large over the years. And she has, of course, a lot of stuff going, influenced because of, the political situation going on in this country right now. So I definitely hope that we see a lot more of her because her career is not over yet. She's defining and battling ageism, and I love that. She's one of the biggest artists to do so. Michael Jackson is her same age, but we don't have him anymore, but we do have Madonna, sadly, of course. And so I hope that, again, this was fun for you to watch, and I will look forward to doing more Madonna reviews in the future. Check out my Ray of Light review in the description. Thanks so much for watching. Have a wonderful day, and a happy new year. Bye.